marks July. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm still stuck in July. Ain't I? I'm way behind, but it's August 10th, 2025. Pretty much we're on the peak or precipice of August 11th. It might be midnight already where some of you guys are, but welcome to You Will Make It TV. Remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe bell to continue to receive notifications each time our channel is live in action with you guys. I had promised my subscribers I would be back last night with I did. I got to do two topics, but I never came back for that third one, but that's okay. We got two insightful topics. We were able to squeeze those in there for Saturday night this past weekend, and we're gonna do this one tonight. And I might be back with another one. Y'all know uh, I am getting back on track with bringing those insightful topics more on a daily basis. And then we share inspirational quotes in our shorts section of You Will Make It TV. If you're ever looking to go, check those out sometimes, you're absolutely welcome to. Shout out to our supporters in the chat. That's the great thing about a supporter, too. You absolutely don't have to know them at all just to hit the like button, just to hit the share button, just to comment something nice. You don't have to know anybody for that. And I wouldn't say knowing somebody should change that, right? You don't like somebody, why would you even be on their page, or why would you be aware of their social media handles at all? That's one thing about social culture right now I'll never understand about social media culture. Like, you know what I mean? People say that all day long, like what they see on social media. And it's just weird because if you don't like a person, like just about everybody today has a social media. Shout out to those rare ones in the world who still value their lives without it. But those that do, I mean, we all should pretty much get that across our minds at this point. Like, you don't like somebody, why would you be subscribed to them, follow them, their social media, any of it? So I'm still one of those firm believers in it. But today, I just thought this would be an insightful topic because I just came across this article saying that it's something about the Trump administration has ordered that I guess companies that once required people to get the vaccinations, the COVID vaccination specifically, a vaccination is a vaccination. But what I said, just like I put in the title there of this video, it's like, is this still true? Once vaccinated, always vaccinated? The thing about vaccinations is you don't get it and then you can just go and you can throw away the papers all you want to. It's like what I said. It's true. Like once vaccinated, always vaccinated, regardless of what the vaccination was for. Maybe it was for hep B, hep A. They got all kind of vaccinations. We know this. Um, but I was just like, what? Anyways, I don't think it's fake news. That's what's crazy. The stuff's so real. People think it's fake. They'll see if actually, if you're one of those that still think a lot of these trending topics are fake, you're actually going to be made an example out of very, very soon. There have been a lot of changes just in America alone since the start of 2025. For those that don't know, you know what I mean. If You Will Make It TV, didn't I just start the stream saying it though? People still do this on social media, man, when they can just simply choose another channel to go support or not support. I don't know. That shows you how much fake is in the world right there. Forget the fake news. Look at the people around us, right? So really, we got to just learn which opinions to care about and which ones we're not, right? We really do have a big mission on our hands, especially when it comes to how does all of this affect us moving forward in the future. So with this topic right here, though, I mean, so that's what it's coming down to. We can easily throw away vaccination records just because. Like, well, what is a health record? What is a health record? What is a vaccination record? I don't know. I don't know if you guys know, but everybody that got that COVID record, vaccination, don't doesn't that go on your shot record? It went on a lot of. I know the children's. It went on their vaccination record, just like any other. It wasn't probably a required one. We know this. With the children, I think back then it was a choice when they were offering it. But then again, I don't remember everything that was going on during the pandemic. But I think I remember it was never like a requirement for the kids to get it. But I don't know because some people they literally gave birth through actually brought children into the world as well during that time, and I think they would offer it. Just offer it, probably like offer it to the parent, like, hey, would you like to get the baby vaccinated? I mean, what would you do if you had a baby during the pandemic? I mean, you would probably want to know as much as you could about the vaccination, any vaccine, before you accept it. What they don't like us talking about is how much informative people are now, that they are willing to ask questions, that they have the right to ask questions. And then you don't want them to talk about their experiences when they ask questions. The last I checked, a question leads to an answer or I don't know. But when we live in a time where your questions are so bothersome that that's just crazy though. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of people are independent now. They're not finna ask y'all nothing. They're finna go research it themselves. How about that? You know what I mean? But I said that on the stream yesterday too. You got a lot of people just pretty much fighting against at certain points. It's not even about politics. It's actually about the power of knowledge. You know what I mean? Who is intaking anything and they don't know much about it. We the reason we were talking about this on the stream last night is because we were talking about all the states that have joined the banning sugary foods from EBT, off of the grocery list. Like it might not be approved anymore. Feel free to check out previously recorded streams just like these right here at You Will Make It TV in case you missed it. It's not just people out here. I don't know what they think. They're trying to reserve certain industries only for certain people. It's so retarded. Look how late in history we are for that. I don't know. What else do they do? When you have to look at who's been there for 30, 40, 50 years, who's been over certain sectors and decisions and stuff to begin with. Don't try to look at the ones that's coming up. See, every generation is going to have an uprising at some point, if you ask me. A uprising means the next generation of doctors, the next generations of astronauts, the next generations of school teachers. That's why I'm going to keep speaking up when it comes to our right to intellectual freedom, thought, properties. That's stupid because that's like saying somebody's trying to suddenly stop the next uprising of who the next leaders are supposed to be, who the next silver servants are supposed to be, who the next doctors and everybody's supposed to be. Like who is out here trying to change that? Now, I respect Trump supporters, but do Trump supporters respect others? That's all I'm going to say for a second because it says a lot. I don't want anybody supporting me right now who just they're known for certain things or they operate a certain way. Don't even support me. Why would I want to be affiliated or associated with you in any way depending on how you treat your very own supporters or how your very own supporters treat others. Period. That's what we're about at You Will Make It TV. Pretty much. Like I don't care what MAGA does for the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It'll never make me hate myself, but it'll expose a lot how people act because you won't or because you don't seem to show signs of giving up or that you feel any less of yourself. That's what I'm saying. I don't just look at how many subscribers, supporters, viewers, ratings a person has. Don't we see that everybody nobody's exempt from that anymore? It was always about numbers. For too long it's been about numbers, but what be behind those numbers? That's what they don't want us talking about. You know what I mean? So But what's behind the numbers? Because, like, this is stupid. You just slap. That's what we're here to talk about anyway. You could just, okay, well, we don't need those files anymore. We don't need to see who all got the COVID vaccination, particularly in the workplaces. Like, if you keep every other record of business for a business, that's a record. I would say it doesn't matter what I feel about it, but for the record, these are my reactions, commentaries, my VOICE during these trying times that we are living amidst today. All of us as Americans, we still got a right to say something. Once again, it's one thing to look at the leader, then it's the other thing to look at the followers. Okay, are they willing followers? You know you're a willing follower when you're a whole voter. See, people be mocking people like, oh, y'all voted for such and such. Now look, many people do see that sometimes what they were following or what they nobody just wants to admit it anymore. We've all been led down the wrong way a time or two in life. You find me a person that just found a straight perfect road to success, I'm gonna even question it a little bit. Like, you didn't have not one hiccup, not one lesson you had to learn, not one wrong detour. And even if you didn't, we're not here to. That's what I'm saying. It shows with the kind of supporters for them, and they don't want people talking about that. People like, why are they so quiet about these and those files? I'm not even here to talk about. People probably thought I would have more opinions. Like, it seemed like everybody got something to say about the Epstein files, right? I just be paying attention to it's all kind of different severe topics to talk about today. It's so stupid. Like I just said, with numbers and paperwork and all that kind of stuff too. If you got, I'd rather look at that. Somebody can just create a reason to say, no, we don't need those papers anymore. Actually, we want to seize all those records. Who all got a COVID shot? Well, make your mind up. At the time, it was mandatory at some jobs. Period. That's why it was on the news. People were outraged. They were like, this vaccine ain't even been out long enough for us to know if we want to, you know what I'm saying? People just felt like enough research hadn't been done about those vaccines to begin with, for how quick people ran to get them. Another update I saw, this is not fake news. I'll be reporting on this is real stuff that's happening in the world. Like, there was an increase of preventative medicines, stuff people want to stay quiet about, like, or don't want you talking about. I don't care. If people are buying more Tylenol than ever, there's something I want to know. Not that I was talking about Tylenol. If there's a drug pandemic, people like to know about that. They want to know what they're up against. What do you mean? Okay, if you had a certain percentage of people that got the COVID vaccine, people have always been interested in that information. You can't suddenly be like, oh, well, because I'm a certain supporter and we don't like people talking about that. We just did what we had to do during the pandemic. That was people's whole health at risk, everything about the pandemic. What do you mean? You can't talk about the pandemic and leave the topic of vaccinations out of it, can you? Some people got those vaccinations and still died. That's the whole thing about a preventative medicine or a preventative vaccine, right? If you just ask the doctor today, why do I got to get the chickenpox vaccination? Why would you say that's important? That's what I'm saying. We got away with so long in society with people not asking questions. Now they get mad at you asking. I don't know about other people experiences, but I was always taught you got a question, ask it. What you want to do, look stupid in a certain moment of your life, or like people just be like, it's dangerous to speak on certain things, but they don't talk enough about how people put your life in danger too over asking a question. Something you got a whole right to do, whether you ask Google, Alexa, Siri, your neighbor. Then they want to control who you're asking the questions. That way they can control whether they can say it was a reliable source or not. These are the days we living in. If you call everything propaganda, who will believe the truth? It's crazy. And do I plan on giving a secret recipe between propaganda and the truth? It just seemed like we are coming to those days. Propaganda at the end of the day is nothing but a lie. So if you say, yeah, or we're going to have more frontliners helping people to see lies between the truth, call it what you want to. Call it what you want to. That's just working for the people. But then, before you can work for the people, you have to be able to see for yourself. Because not any of us are exempt from the next thing the person go to. I mean, aren't we the people? But anyways, people want to make it about that so bad. Like, yeah, well, we support this. We know, okay, that's fine. People supported Obama. People supported Bill Clinton. People supported just about every president we've ever had. That's how this works. We're more looking at like, look how people actually express themselves now, though, over certain support. I mean, over like certain things they support. And it shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? Real leadership just speak for itself. You're going to see more people actually showing that support, not crying over how the changes are hurting them and hurting families and hurting people at work. Come on, man. Anyways, yeah, people expect, well, what's your opinion about the files and this and that? I would say that's not new either. People been working hard for generations. And I just think it's stupid. It's just the stupidest war ever, bro. All the wars I've ever heard about in history, this one right here is stupid. But it's like the truth just slaps us all in the face all at the same time too, because it's like you can't judge one person for revolving their life around a lie when we all been doing it, and then you continue to watch people. Well, what's their reaction? They be so hungry for the truth. They claim they are. They be so hungry for the truth. But then you watch a person reaction to the truth too. Since we're kind of on the topic of medical things and health, uh, they always said the truth was one of the hardest pills to swallow too. Period. That's my reaction to the Epstein files. Even if people get it or don't know, they knew certain things around them wasn't right. We've all seen it in society this whole time. Now people want to act like, oh my God, this was all happening. People literally hold snatch up people and commit crimes in broad daylight these days. Some of the majorest, most gruesome crimes were committed in the broad daylight. What do you mean? Now people are like, oh my God, how did we didn't see it? I mean, that's my same question about those other things that were committed, once again, right under the bright and shining sun in the broad daylight. People ain't waiting till the midnight hours to do everything no more. It's just crazy. Like, I was just saying, like, what is going to be the big difference in people once they finally see exactly what's on what documents and stuff? Why you just can't believe the truth when it's right there in your face like that? Well, propaganda, all this stuff, it's been known to like blind people anyway. We can blame it on propaganda. We can blame it on distractions. That's why I'm saying what we got to do, sit there and play distracted then these days. Play confused, oh, I was just saying that's interesting. Like why would vaccination records on jobs during the pandemic need to be even if it's new news to me? Like, oh, okay, we just want to wipe away the history of the pandemic. Nobody's going to forget that happened. I actually hope it ends up in the history books and in the future of curriculum requirements and why all over the world. That needs to be added to the curriculum to history classes. The whole season of years that the pandemic of COVID-19 affected the world. I was actually sitting back watching how long it might take before we add it. You might say, what is there to teach about it? It's history now. It was world changing. The world is still different since COVID-19 happened. Nobody likes to really talk about COVID-19 no more because it's like some people still wonder where did it even come from? And why was it specifically the time in history that it was? It could have been the COVID-19 pandemic could have came in 2004, 1998, 1991. That ain't when it happened though. Period. We all saw when it was. What was it between the years of 2019, 2020? That's the thing too. Like people be trying to put time frames like so they come on the news February 24th, 2020 and say we've officially declared a national emergency for COVID-19 in America. That's the day that people, you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that that's exactly when it started. You know, you had cases of it before they even declared a national emergency at the health department. That's why we look at stuff now. We're not finna sit and wait till every announcement that says, "Hey, this is a crisis. This is a pandemic. This is." Why would we wait till the health department says it about anything? If you hear more people, I don't know, maybe people should just get out more or just watch the news. I wouldn't say the news should be your only source, but stop trying to control the sources. That is one thing I can say that we see a lot of too. They want to control the whole source itself. That way they can control what the source is talking about. But you can do that all you want to. You can't change people's personal experiences. People remember what they went through during the pandemic. If they had to get a vaccination, I was just like, do they know that? Usually every vaccination goes on a individual's vaccination record. Even if you well, we don't want the jobs to have them in the buildings no more. We're gonna seize those. I guess it gotta mean something, like, because we would all have to go back and remember some people still work at the same place they worked during the pandemic. Some of us, we'd be like, where did I work during the pandemic? Like, did I get the vaccine? I remember one job I applied for though during the pandemic. It was for a work home position. So I'm just saying this particular one was definitely during the pandemic. The only reason I didn't end up following through with this specific employer was because I did not understand why I would need a COVID-19 vaccination just to work at home. It's okay. They were friendly about it, and I was friendly about my questions. That's why I say questions. The tongue is a blessing when you want to use it. The tongue can be a blessing or a curse. Everybody's always said that. So the tongue can be a blessing just with a question. I didn't even mean for that to rhyme, but look how it works out. But anyways, once they were going over the other requirements, you know, what was necessary for hiring qualifications, I had no problems with the other stuff. They was even gonna send you the equipment at the time. They was gonna send you everything you need, your laptop, everything you need at home to work the job. But then they said, "Oh yeah, well we need you to submit your COVID vaccination proof to such and such email." And that was kind of I wouldn't say it was automatically the deal breaker, but I definitely wasn't going to go any further with the deal without learning more about why. I asked them, why would you need a COVID vaccination if we're going to be working at home? I understood it for some of the other employers where people actually went out in public. People did a lot to keep their jobs. Actually, what they need to do is write down a record of that. Like who all actually because notice with laws and rules, you can be following them for 25 years. You break one, man. That's just how the world is. You know, just about anywhere you go, there's laws, there's mandates, there's regulations at any given time. Um, what was I gonna say? Yeah. So I want to know because they need to be honored and pretty much given their flowers where due. If you did adhere to the mandates, because we know the vaccination wasn't the only mandate at some employers. You also had to wear a mandatory face mask. And some of these employers, if you would have took that face mask, if it was even under your nose too much a little bit, they would say, "Hey, you're not properly wearing your mask. Please put your mask over your nose." I heard some of the kids went through it too. And it was always a person with their face fully covered telling you that. And I just, I would sometimes wonder and think to myself, like, how are you even breathing? You not uncomfortable? Is your face sweating under there? Why you over here worried about if mine all the way over my nose? I'm just so glad. I'm glad too. Other people, I don't know what they've been exhibiting and showing, but I've been showing I am very grateful that the COVID-19 pandemic is over. It's something that we are true survivors of, even if they don't want to tell us that. If I was the president, I would still be commending people for how they help, how they really, 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 for the most part, kept it together through one of the most trying times of our country, dude. Not just, oh, remember what we gave y'all? Remember how we were there? Like, do remember the American people are not the one who created the. I'm not sure though. I don't know. But we weren't the ones that just sat there and had anything to do with until we learned otherwise about why the COVID-19 pandemic might have got started. It's just like, remember what we gave y'all and what we supplied everybody with? Yeah, we remember. And thank God we had some of that assistance, because there are still some people that did not make it through the pandemic. And it wasn't because they didn't have enough food or they couldn't pay their rent. I mean, that was some of the reasons some people fell COVID-19 pandemic, but there were real lives claimed from that. So, and some of those people had jobs. How do you think it starts? You got sick at work, you end up having to go in and out the hospital. That was the thing, and they still wanted people at work during the pandemic. Period. And with your whole face covered like that. But yeah, usually it started at work, and you have to end up going to see a doctor and missing work. Hopefully you recall and giving the manager an update like, yeah, just imagine what some of the managers went through though. Getting calls that they lost a whole employee lost their life. They're not coming back to work because whether they took the vaccination for to keep the job, wore a face mask to keep the job, it did not, unfortunately, promise that pandemic. We want to be sensitive about that. I would be sensitive about it. If I work at the White House, there's no way knowing that, and that was just recent. Think about it. It's only 2025. You can go through that type of trauma in a nation and stuff, and they still like, oh, get over it. We need to move on. We need to get back to work. There's people still whole grieving from people they lost during the COVID-19 pandemic. One second, guys. I probably spent about 20 more minutes on this topic. Just my commentary and reaction uh, to trending news circulating out there. Of course, they're gonna do that too. Like everything we talking about pertaining to leadership in this nation at this time has to be propaganda. Please stop it. Even some of the news podcasters, radio hosts, bigger than what we do on YouTube. Some of them, they've been called out by Trump recently. It's a lot going on. But see, some of these same leaders, they have Twitter accounts, or they did have them. You know what I mean? Where they can get on there and tweet or put a post anytime they want to. We never say anything about it. They usually have a big following because people know who you are. Come on now, especially if you're a politician. People can see what you tweet and all of that stuff. But I was just wondering, that's crazy though. We can't know the motive behind everything. I know that, but why Would anybody say scrub the fouls of all the people who got it? Bro, that's not gonna work. Whatever they're trying to do, you can't make people forget if they got the COVID vaccine or 19 vaccine or not. And some of those vaccines, they were 2 or 3 rounds, maybe more. Every time you turned around, that's why I decided not to get it. Personally, every time you turned around, though, it seemed like they were saying you got to get another one. What y'all know what I'm talking about? What they call it, like a follow up, part 2, part 3, part 4. I'm like, dang, how many parts of the COVID vaccine is it? Well, you got to come back and get the booster. You got to come back and get the part 3. Because to me, if I wasn't going to be able to keep up with all of it, well, I'm not saying I'm right. I just feel like, what's the point of even getting the first round of the vaccination? If I'm not going, if I know I cannot commit to turn around and come back to this hospital, this clinic, this Walgreens, and get part 2, 3, and 4 of the vaccination, I might as well not get it at all. But once again, I know there was people who I absolutely did not make. They weren't able to fight the, what should I call it, the virus when they caught it, even if they got the vaccination. That's what was crazy. Like with a flu shot, at least you see people actually survive the flu. But the flu is like that too. You know, it's the flu still claims lives, whether that person had the vaccination or not. It's still people out here in modern day time have lost their whole life to the flu, something that we think we just see through the winter seasons. Or it's just weird. So it do make you start thinking like that. Like, does it matter if I get a quote unquote vaccination or not? And the only rights we do have rights to, you know what I'm saying? If it's for religious reasons, certain other reasons where you can get what's they called, like exemption from vaccinations for your family or for a particular person. Maybe they have a health condition where you want to be careful. You don't want the person to have those vaccinations. You apply for a uh, vaccination exemption form in your state. You may or may not, your application may or may not get approved. That's just how those things work. But there are places already that will deny you. That's been going on. If you tell them, no, I don't want a vaccination for my child or for me, they will deny you care. I think that was going on during the pandemic too. Now that I think about it, they'll just say, yeah, we don't want to see you here no more, because they just rather all the babies be vaccinated. Like, I try to understand it. I'm glad somebody said that in the chat. I'm looking at the chat again. Somebody said, you can't be a leader without any control. Cause like soon as I read it, my wheels were already turning. I mean, is that true? Is that true? Because what is control really? What are the tools that people use to stay in control? It's a great thing to point out. You know what I mean? At any given time. Um, I guess you could look at it like that, but that's what I said. Like, that's if you look at it without asking the question, what is control? You know, how much does a person need to be considered in control of what? Because to me, not many people can even control their own life. How are you going to be a leader? They think they have control of their life, but really, debt, DEBT, which everybody ain't going to showcase that on social media, but we all have a little debt. I know we do. That's why you're not one of the top class billionaires or millionaires sitting up there, because you still have debt. You still owe debt. Now, some people in their minds, they say you're not a leader as long as you owe debt because you're not financially free. So I would say that that quote only applies depending on how deep you're looking at it. And we know I look at things way deeper than the surface these days. I do. They want us to see the all-seeing eye on all these symbols and on the back of the dollar bill and all of that. Well, let me have my own opinions about what I see. If I spend money, make money, get money any kind of way, have had any relationship with money, they just not used to people talking like that. Like, oh, she just talking like that for a show. No, I'm not. Have you ever sat back and observed a dollar bill lately? Or do you just you so busy paying your bills you probably haven't? I mean, have you just looked at a dime, a nickel lately, a quarter? Really truly sat there and observed it. Think about the materials it's made from, how much it costs to produce. Think about how many hands it goes through per hour, per day. Do you think about that when you think about money? Because I do. I've been thought about it. Uh, but to others, it's just value. It's just like the value of the currency. They're not thinking about nothing else. They ask people, when the last time you read the back of your dollar? Cashiers, they read money every day. You know how that is. They got to check bills and count bills, lots of different jobs. Bankers. But the average person who, let me add, like I just said, is carrying debt. And we know, though people are quiet about it, there are like a million circumstances. I don't know if that's a problem or not, but it's a million circumstances not only that could lead a person to that. We all know that you can put your own self in debt, but that's just leading a person to debt or them choosing to be in debt. It's also a million reasons. It's also a million ways they keep. That's the problem I have. That's the part I have a problem with. Keep people in debt. We can all talk about debt all day long. Debt and leadership, because trust me, it matters. And how hard others fight, you know what I'm saying, if they sit in a higher category of money, you know what I'm saying, to stay out of debt. Y'all was like, oh, it's just about people being money hungry. It's not about that. Is it about people being money hungry? They don't want to be in debt. Look how much comes with debt. DEBT. Somebody feeling like you owe them. But then too, those kind of people are dangerous to me. Ain't nothing wrong with counting up and tally marking what you're owed at any given time. A debt collector, a person. But I had noticed in life, sometimes it's about what you are indebted, but even after those debts are paid, sometimes overpaid. You know what I'm saying? Some people would never be satisfied. Some companies, some organizations, however you want to put it, person, place, or thing. Some things are never satisfied. But if you can keep a person mentally bound somehow to the thought of debt, the ideology of debt, and how they owe you a million ways all the time, and that's all you want on their mind, burden of debt. Like, I owe this, I gotta stretch this, I gotta put this here, I've been studying this on another level. I'm not the first one, actually. Some believe what's they called, work burnout is real. Talking about that ain't real work fatigue. It is when, like they say, they don't feel like the benefits are fair. They don't feel like they get enough vacation time. They don't feel like, they're heard enough at the job to begin with, even if they've been there 10 plus years. You know what I mean? I think that's about to start mattering a lot more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, push the nation back to work. But don't try to silence people when they get to work talking about what they feel like they deserve because they have higher credentials, because that was the problem to begin with. People desiring higher pay or a more extended of benefits. More people are vocal about that. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter which industry you're in. As a matter of fact, during the pandemic, it was even actors and actresses on whole strike. Amazon workers went on strike again recently. But they be like, go to work. Everybody needs a job. Go to work. It's literal real stories of people that had to be rushed to the hospital working in an Amazon. I'm not saying, I'm not bringing it up for negative reasons, but we know that's negative. That's just negative, bro. Like, you shouldn't be passing out at work. Like, even when they were working on the railroads, I don't care, back in the early Great Depression times, or earlier in American history, you just didn't hear that unless they were working in mines or something that's understandable. A person might have passed out down there. But just like hard industry labor type jobs, warehouse, industrial jobs, construction jobs, it's just like, I ain't gonna say it was unheard of, but back then you didn't hear the men that were working hard for their families were passing out at whole work, bro. Get out of here with that. But we want to make America great again. We got to think about that too. People were not literally physically fatigued, mentally fatigued. They were happy to go to work. They were proud workers, proud laborers. You know what I mean? Yes, America. I just like to bring it up because I've read about it. We fought hand, nail, and tooth just for a lot of the work, equal opportunity work, for that to be there in many different diverse areas for people in this country. See, people talk about just the civil rights movement. We had so many different movements when it came to rights. Let's really tally it up in this country. Now, at least I get to see what it was really like for people. Like, this wasn't no game. The whole time, you just fighting for a right. Whether it was disability rights, domestic violence rights, women's rights, uh, child support, men, parent, fathers' rights, you name it. We have, that's what makes me, because some say it's hard to be proud and I'm just embarrassed to be. I wouldn't say I'm complete. That's if you forget how far we've come. Yeah, you can easily be embarrassed of what it seems like right now. There is no way to be embarrassed as an American if you sit there and remember all the predecessors before us that actually put in blood, sweat, and tears for certain rights as well. But like I said, it shows a lot what was happening in history too. Just look at now. There's always an opposing party. What you mean? And then what is the rights you're fighting for? Uh, for example, I said it on another stream just the other night. We have sectors that we fought for rights, and now there's laws and protections for those rights, and then we still got a lot of places. That's how I look at it, where it needs to be worked on, and it's just noticeable, and people are mad because they know the very next step is we're going to need to implement some more rights and protections that, like for other categories of people and things. Once upon a time, they were proposing making being left-handed a like an approved disability, right? It's just an example, even if it's a small example. uh but that's not something that's happened yet. Okay, because me personally, I am left-handed. So I can understand the left-handed, not just of the country, but of the world, right? We actually live different lives. That's exactly what we're talking about. Some things you might think about on a daily or regular, just be like, I think there should be rights for this. Everybody wouldn't think about it because majority of people, I think even research proved that they're right-handed. They don't know what it's like for us left-handed people to sit there and open a can, use a can opener, unless you have the electric one that it spins the top open for yourself, or to cut a cucumber, a onion. Left-handed people can do just about the same thing other people can do though. We can drive. We do, like I said, we just have to work a little extra harder. Like incorporating that right hand. This is like really a real thing for me because you're left-handed. All the cars are mostly designed for people that are right-handed. Think about it. Those countries where they sit on the driver sit on the left-hand side. I don't know, they roads be different, cars be different, probably their traffic laws and stuff. I understand that. But just a world more uh what is that? Just have more advantages for left-handed people. I said left people, like I'm talking about politics, but just imagine there's no right that's too right or wrong. All you can do is keep standing for it or voicing about it, I guess, till you see a change. That's how it's always been. It's just showing us something though. What are people trying to show? Like, yeah, I'm showing my face. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I'm gonna be a part of the opposing party. Anybody that stand up for your rights, because that's what you sound and look like. And ain't nothing wrong with it. That's the side you choose. Anytime I'm around and it's like some rights movements going on, give me time to process where I stand in it. If I want to stand in it out, not just me. I'm talking in a general sense. But we know if you don't stand at all, you can't be one of those complaining about the problem later. We got too much of that going on. Where people like, well, I'm more on the safer side. I didn't say nothing at all. That's not what you look like. You not saying or doing nothing at all. I don't know. You got to have a good explanation for that. When you had the whole opportunity to join something like a movement, but you want to sit and teach history lessons to people about other movements that's happened in the history of this country, that's fine. Be a teacher. But now, when the opportunity is in front of each and every one of us, and we say, what is it? As we see that all the broken places of our country, where is it that if I could stand up for something, where would I stand up for it today? It's so many things that, once again, like I said, we've come a long way when it comes to rights and implementing them and them being added to the Constitution. But we are seeing it. Like, hey, there's some other things here. Once again, child support wasn't a thing yet in the 30s and 20s and 1800s. Imagine all the people. That's just what it was. You got pregnant back then, you took care of the baby. More people stayed as a family unit because I understand why. Look at all more of the choices, freedoms, and rights people have today and what they choose to do with them. That's all. That's all I be saying. Not even just, yeah, the rights and freedoms. That's what I'm sitting back still observing. Like, really? This what a person choose with their freedom? It really ain't my business, but they look at all of our lives like that's what exposed a lot too. Is that what that person choose to do with their freedom? We all know that with certain freedoms, you know what I mean, it's gonna show your gratefulness or something for it. Even if you're the top minimalist of the world, you're just grateful for a piece of bread and a cup of water every day. What's wrong with that? That's your freedom. You got a freedom of choice to eat something other than that, but you settle for that. I would say that's a little more than a minimalist though, but pretty much, yeah. We thank you guys for your support though. This far with all the lives we've been posting lately. I want to come back and definitely bring more insightful topics. It seems like just yesterday we were talking about the Roe versus Wade issues, right? I'm just saying that's how quick, you know what I'm saying? That's how many things too, all at one time has just been changing back to back to back. I respect America still as far as a collective for the main part because I have seen people do nothing but bounce back even when they were forced to do that. That was your only choice. You bounce back or the country fall apart because everybody just chooses to stop going to work. Everybody just chooses to stop to give up their will to live. That is not what I've seen Americans do at this time. So that's not going to be my perception on it. You know what I mean? I'm proud of Americans for that. If anything, uh, once again, you just had those unexpected, like the COVID-19 pandemic. We know things weren't perfect during that time, but for the most part, people did their best to survive it. But You were still expected to abide by certain laws, regulations, and mandates, even though you're going to be more expected to abide by that. What do you mean? We're in a state of national crisis. It's very unfortunate that people will use those, and it's not new. Tell me Arthur Tedescherry hasn't spoken on it before. It's not new. I tried to tell people that crisis is always, if you're not careful, cover up. Like who created? That's what make you want to look deeper into certain crises. Like how long has the crisis occurred? Because why would a that's why it seemed like they have to switch the crisis up. But either way you look at it, it's always a crisis. Like no country has to be like that. Cause see that crisis too be those lurking dark waters that you like. Oh, those are just murky dark waters. Nothing's going on over there. It's just a crisis. And the whole time, trust me, there's always something lurking in those muddy dark waters too. Just because it's not preferable to you doesn't mean it's not for a crocodile or something else that could be lurking in it. You feel me? We were seeing it with some of the wars and stuff, even the flooding incidents, just different stuff. Like why every time it's a crisis, you're gonna see the same thing. Like such and such people end up missing. Such and such people end up their lives gone. Such and such people was emotionally affected. They done study. It seemed like they've studied more of. We do have a lot of preventative and what do they call it? Like protocols people follow when certain crises happen. We get that part. But then they got a whole guidebook on this is how a person affected by a crisis would be. These are the signs of it. Okay, so you just got it written in the books for show? Because there are people that really read them. A book, something like what are the effects of trauma? How long does a person usually get over trauma? Because once again, the COVID-19 pandemic was traumatic for some people. Not being able to walk close to people all the time and having to live different, able to invite everybody to your house like you used to because you don't want to spread germs. What did I just say? The COVID-19 was probably traumatic to some people. Now go back to the uh, mental health books. That's just one thing that the country has suffered lately. You like, no, everybody just be mentally strong. Everything's okay. Just go to work. That's crazy. That's what people sound like. I'm just letting them know. From some of our perceptions, that's what people sound like. You could say we're making excuses. I mean, I could say, yeah, I agree. There are countries that are suffering worse issues at hand right now. At any given time, where you have an advantage to still look at where you're blessed or opportune at, I don't care how small it looks. You want to be thankful for it. Um, just talking about the what seemed to be when the Great Resignation happened. It was I hated that they had put that image on it, like, oh, people are just burnt out because of COVID-19 and they don't want to go to work. That was a problem when they first started saying it. Because now look at what they're saying. So y'all really just gonna leave out the part that if your mask was not on in the workplace, there could be a whole grounds for you to get suspended or fired at that time, literally. But you want to say it was because people were burnt out and lazy. And a lot of it, if you had businesses that closed down, because you did, some places were just not able to keep their businesses afloat. Every business that gets shut down, for example, I heard they shut down a lot of Dollar Generals, Family Dollars. That was way back in 2022, 23. They were just saying more. What's another one? Not TJ Maxx. Is it Michael's? Um, Hobby Lobby. There it is. I don't know, but there's been a lot of businesses just having a lot of shutdowns lately. Like businesses that we would know have locations in different cities and states. Uh, they've had business closures. I was just saying, did we forget when one business shut down? How many jobs is that going down the toilet every time a business closes? You have now just forced 30 employees to go find another job. Every time some goes out of business, I just wanted people to know that. So even if you're an entrepreneur and you're the only employee, when your business is out of business, guess who's out of work? You yourself. But that's the thing. I mean, some of the business that they go into foreclosure or bankruptcy is different levels to them, because after the pandemic, you saw a lot of places open back up for whatever reason too. It's like if you saw a business go under during the pandemic, you really didn't even ask no questions. That's how normalized we had became to it. Like you didn't even, if you seen a closed down sign, just like you just assumed it was due to the pandemic. But I can't admit that. Just as many closed signs as I saw, you did see some come back and reopen, but then you saw some that never came back at all, y'all. And it's only 2025 right now. Like this was not that long ago. And we just can't miss who was in leadership then too. You can't be a perfect leader when you got a whole pandemic going on. I can understand that. You yourself would have to do the best to keep yourself healthy first of all. I think they were saying at the time some of those White House people would have to go on leave or like a break because they even was catching it at the time. I've already seen some would say it came from here, it came from there. It doesn't matter. To me, God has something to do with it, and I don't need to see anymore. We saw what we needed to see through the first COVID-19 pandemic that the world had ever seen. We saw what we needed to see. Look how that one massive shakeup affected so many things, and here we are 5 years later. That's what I'm saying. Like, why would we dig in how the people were surviving? Not that I have anything to hide, but I heard they were doing it. We're going back. We're seeing who was doing what. Because, like I said, it's just unfortunate when a crisis is going on. You're always gonna have a stupid group of people that, oh, this is that's how you know you're not a real opportunist. You have to use the disadvantage of somebody else to have an opportunity. You're not a real opportunist. I mean, don't get me wrong. Opportunities do take tragedy and turn it into triumph at any given time. But that's a difference from doing that, turning it into something that could help many other people in a legal way versus just taking advantage of a crisis. You know, people do that. They lose stores. I heard it's been real bad in places like California and New York with people breaking in those stores and stealing. They it's and got so bad they do it in broad daylight. They just go in there get what they need to. I don't know if that's still going on, but I remember it was being talked about for a while, both during the pandemic and still to this day. They've actually taken more security precautions, more stores. What I'm saying, companies found themselves when it come to retail stores found themselves investing in whole more budgets of money into security just to kind of fight against it. And people don't be understanding, man. If y'all go out there and steal everything, you're still messing up the economy. This ain't about who's the good guy and the bad guy no more. It's like common sense. You go out there and steal everything because you feel like, well, they got more money than us. They'll be all right. We finna go steal all these products. Like you're still affecting the economy because that's a company that could go out of business. There's gonna be more employees that lose money. Now those little assistants you thought you had in the background because you can go steal. Um, you're actually putting more and more dents in the economy. That's why I said people gonna feel it later. None of this was fake news. They call it fake news until it's absolutely disastrous and we don't know what's going on anymore. And the whole time, what they calling fake news could have been whole alarms. You know what I mean? People just don't believe in alarms anymore unless it got to do with getting up for work. And that's just where we've come to, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's like let's boot out the people that sounding alarms on other things that could be a thing. Yeah, it's like because from how I see it, that's not gonna work forever, man. I've been telling referencing to those scary movies where the kid be trying to tell their mom there's a monster in the closet or under the bed, and what they do, go throw them in the psychiatric facility, try to get them evaluated, and the whole time while the kid gone, now the parents saying the monster under the bed. But in the beginning, you could have listened to the kid to try to get more understanding. That's just how we still are. Them ain't just movies. People are really like that. That's why I say they do all this digging. Well, Trump needs to tell the truth. This person needs to tell the truth. Like, bro, that's why that quote is what it is. The truth is the hardest pill to swallow. But people think they know medicine and know about health and what's best, but they can't take the truth pill. How you gonna single out who what one person needs to do about telling the truth? If everybody was telling the truth, the world wouldn't be so full of lies now. They just be wanting it. And to me, let me go ahead and say why I think it is. They do be desiring the truth, but their motives and intent behind it be sick. It do. That's why I feel like some things, I ain't gonna say that about the Epstein files, but some things I do believe should remain, or I can see why it's been a mystery, or it should stay. Just let people keep wondering, because what is their intent uh when they get the truth, when the truth is in certain people's hands, it actually makes it worse for everybody. That's what I've been seeing. You think the devil don't be wanting the truth, but it's not for the reasons and purposes I'm sure that people think. Actually, a wise man used to tell us the devil will tell you the truth. The only way he's involved with the truth at any given time is to get you caught up in a lie. Actually, like, he does not stand for the truth at all. That's why lies exist. Even if you don't believe in the devil, nobody can deny that. I don't care what culture, nationality, part of the world you're from, what you believe. I bet you believe a lie is real. I bet you don't like being lied to, no matter what language you speak. You recognize the truth when you hear it, no matter what language you speak. And it is worth you know, us normalizing the topic a little more. We're living in the day more than ever. Both truth being uncovered and lies, people trying to stick them even harder than before. It's stupid. Like, we just don't, as long as they don't remember what a lie is, we good. No, actually, us recognizing a lie, when we hear a lie, see a lie, feel a lie, taste a lie, that's just that. You coexist with it. Lies are in the world. But it's like, what is your reception to it? They can't even deny that. They say it's because a lie is easier to accept. It makes life easier. People finna find out about that though. They finna find out about that. If you ask me, they're finna find out about that. That's not even real, bro. Like, yeah, as long as the lie make me feel good temporarily, I'm good. That's the thing about it. It was a lie. Like, the you're all you can get out of that is temporary pleasure. What do you mean? And that's not good. Not for the economy, not for the ecosystem, not for the environment. That's three words that start with an E, whatever that means. Surrounding lies on what's natural. Like, it didn't even need that. It's already naturally beautiful. It's already naturally what it is. It's come down to whether you can accept it or not. The truth has always been beautiful. I can't believe I just said that. I'm starting to believe that, yeah, it really isn't for everybody. Every Come on now, even the devil wants the truth about certain things. That doesn't mean his motive is 100% for the well-being of children, pets, animals, the ecosystem, anybody. Here it is still though. Everybody be like, I want the truth. Bro, we don't even have the full truth about Michael Jackson. Like, certain whole people that's not here no more. We really don't. He'd be like, well, it unfolds, or okay, well, why would some of this stuff it take 40, 50 years, hundreds of centuries to unfold, bro? Truth has always been what it is. Like, it don't take nothing that long to unfold. You just been having that many people lying for that long, or diluting the truth. All of that too. Cause they be like, lies are costly. I believe that too, but so is the truth. It ain't free. They just want to bully people about it and all of this. The truth don't even have much to do with money. Or I am learning a lot. The truth is golden. The truth is one of the most valuable. I told you, if the truth ain't valuable, why would something like the whole devil desire it too? But like I said, cause like what is there to manipulate if the devil don't even have the truth? What would he have to like lie about? Come on now. Thank you, boo boo. Thank you. Mm. So that's the thing about a lie. It's just like it's temporary, but people say they looking for long-standing foundations and eternity. Just things that if you can't accept the truth, why do you think you deserve eternity or immortal life or any type of power over the next person? You can't even accept the truth. Every time you get it, you're working to dilute it a little more. You're working to look for a way to, but they want to make it look like it's us out here, the speakers and the ones that, like, bro, we're just not the newspaper and people no more. This is called the internet. This ain't the Star Telegram and no, the people with those jobs, they do their jobs, and even them, they don't get it 100% right all the time. The news reporters, people been saying that. I'm just saying, I can't speak for the whole everybody that be out here in public face like that. But you do have some that's still with integrity. Like, we not coming in like, I think this and hoping my words just have the greatest effect on somebody. That's crazy. If anything, you would hope your words are doing edifying. Ask me what kind of speaker I am, because I might tell you an inspirational one. You know, if you're able to trigger emotions though, because they used to say that in church, like if the pastor say something and you get triggered, they would be like, it must be the truth or it must be working. If you start having steam coming out of your ears and you turning red, sometimes you might even get up and leave and dismiss yourself just because the pastor said, yeah, you know, you shouldn't really drink. And alcohol is a trick of the devil. You know what I mean? They say if you're one of those people that's sitting in the crowd and some words trigger you, it's probably because it's working. What do y'all think about that? See, Trump, he have speeches, he go on tours, he go and have different speaking engagements and meetings. What is it, Pooh? Bring me your cup. And the other device, is it on the charger? That was the one for her to use. Oh yeah, so when you go to these speaking and that's what I was just saying about that. Like, everybody not gonna always like what he says or his opinions or what he's doing. Uh, you know, and people had a right. That's what show about a leader. You mad about that people don't like what you're changing or saying, actually coming after them? That's crazy. Like, yeah, I want your whole business shut down because you said you're against my leadership. It would just, to me, show your style of leadership. That's you. Me as a leader, I can still see a person with I would just say it depends on how far the your opinions went. As long as it stayed an opinion, you're good with me. You can voice it as loud as you want to. That's your opinion. If your opinion didn't go further than like nobody got attacked, nobody business got shut down, nobody bank account was messed with, nobody's foundation or infrastructure was disturbed, then that's what you call an opinion. When an opinion becomes more and you gotta back it up with doing things to a company, a business, and all of this, that just shows what type of leader you are. I'm sorry. It's also giving people what word am I looking? Like example? Like, yeah, be like me as a leader. If somebody don't like your opinion or don't like a move you make, just go after them. Like, is that what we're trying to teach people? Yeah, just go after their bank accounts, go after their medical records. Yeah, they had an opinion about you. Yeah, dig all up in their secret closets. You just got to be careful like that, playing with people of God too, because make sure ain't nothing in your ain't no closet too sealed for God to break through. Some of us already knew that. Then we had to stand on the sideline and watch people play that game. Like, oh, okay, this is a war of opinions, and then we want to cover it up and just say, I want to ban all propaganda type media. People having an opinion is not propaganda, bro. I'm reading this comment in the chat real quick. It says, I'm hearing ICE agents are quitting and they cannot get enough recruits or sign up. Man, I didn't even speak on that, but we've been hearing a lot with that. What was that last incident I saw somewhere? It happened. The people came outside and started fighting. They was trying to fight the ICE officers. Some was even saying they don't believe they should be able to mask up or have masks on when they're deporting people. I knew they probably wasn't going to get far with that one, though, because, bro, you can't tell agents. You've never been able to tell them how they can dress up once they come and apprehend you. So, once again, that was one of those. I do say it's an opinion, but strong opinions people were voicing out there, like, anybody can dress up as that and come and say, hey, it's time for you to go. That's like that's a dangerous game. That's a dangerous position you're putting Americans in. Taxpayers, working people, parents, all of it. Family members. That's why they need to come just as hard on down on people that have been caught doing it. Dressing up as postal workers, dressing up as anything so they can do anything. Like, come on, bro. They saying some of us live a little animated. No, it's people living more animated than you think. They wearing costumes outside of Halloween just to get what they want, man. And then you telling the other one, y'all just go to work. Don't worry about what they're doing. We got it. You know, a part of our new jobs in America, though, is watching our back. I don't care what nobody say. Everybody should be watching their back. Period. I'll put it in those words. They like, I ain't got to watch my back. I'm not an illegal immigrant. You still got to watch your back. Because now, if you got an opinion, they might come after this and that and that. It's like, what? Are we in another civil rights movement right now or what? Anything you push, you force it to move. Just remember that. That's my inspirational quote for this topic today. That is a whole science they teach about kinetic and potential energy, all those different type of energies when it comes to Newton's law and all of this. The reason movements have always come about, whether it was women rights movements, whatever it was, it's because somebody was pushed. Does things just move on their own? Even when people see the curtain move and then nobody touches, something forced it to move. A gust of wind. That's the thing about paranormal experiences. But we'll talk about those topics more on other streams. But still, last I checked, anything you push, you force it to move. So I just want to thank God for all the energy He's pushing into me, or all the energies He's used around me to push me at any given time, whether I liked how I was pushed or not. But push is more of a forceful force. And then you want to get mad because you spark a movement. What did you think is going to happen when you are pushing people a certain way? You're forcing them to move. Then don't tell me you're trying to control their movement thereafter. You already just pushed them. Now you're going to try to control the way they fall. You're going to try to control how fast they get back up. That's what I'm tired of. That has to be against human standard way of life of living. It's totally natural for something to get pushed or need some help being pushed. It's just like, how much force do you have to use? Maybe with a big boulder, you need 10,000 men to push it. That's what I'm saying. We all just look at what's going on today differently. I'm just giving my perception. But any group of people or body of people or something, okay, for example, it's been like forest fires again, both in California. Just yearly, there's fires that happen in certain places. Some of these fires, some people believe they was forced. That's why I'm using it for an example. What did you think happens when you force something? Okay, you force a push or you force a little power on the other side of something or someone or some place. When you play with powers, expect power in return. What else can you fight power with? Let's be honest. And then how strong of a force of power is it? And are you being forced to be pushed, to be moved with this power? Uh-oh. Because that's not even right. Okay, if you're going to force power move somebody and you cause a movement, don't try to control how that person moves. Just know, I mean, you push them, then you get mad when they fall. That's what that looks like, even in politics or with anything in life. You look crazy trying to control the movement thereafter. Right after you just push something. Like, I'm going to put a push on this. I'm going to put a push on that. I'm gonna push up on this and that too, and I'm gonna push this too, and I'm gonna push that too, and we're gonna do a push over here too. And then you expect I guess that's what they saying. Hey, Americans, just staying compliant. Don't say nothing. Don't look over here. We're just gonna keep pushing all of this stuff, and we don't expect no movement. I already heard they're protesting in D.C. right now. I don't know if they're doing it right now at this hour, but I know they were out there today, and the people plan on continuing to do it because there's been an update that they're fins to supposedly send out some National Guard out there to help with the quote unquote crime. And this was my issue though. It said put a pushback. Like, since when do you need the National Guard to come in and help you with a homeless crisis, bro? But they say, is trying to affiliate the reason of the crime in these areas of crime and increased crime in DC. I'm like, why would we be blaming it on the homeless, bro? You don't have nobody else to blame, do you? That's all that looks like. You're gonna keep blaming crime on the homeless? You can't. How are they doing everything and they out there hungry, broke, and can barely find a place to use the restroom? Make that make sense. I mean, maybe there was a narrative that was working. Like, I wouldn't say blame it on the home. At least the lower class, you could probably get by with saying maybe they had something to do with some of the crime because they were lower class. They at least had a home where you can say they probably did this and that. Just to blame stuff like a person whole homeless, and you like, yep, this person committed 30 crimes. When? While most of the people I've known done crimes that have something to do with money, they're not going to be sitting somewhere in a homeless shelter. Period. That's just not wouldn't be their first choice of somewhere to stay. I'm just tired of seeing it. Like, they swear it's the homeless. What the homeless probably is guilty of, though, like other petty stuff, like, oh, okay, well, we know if they're on drugs and alcohol, bro, they're out here. Maybe their crimes would be related to that. not the whole freaking crime statistic in the whole area of DC. I don't believe that. But then again, I'm not a resident out there. Like I said, the last thing I've heard of homeless people being guilty of is maybe squatting, you know what I'm saying? Going and staying in empty homes and stuff they shouldn't be in, or drug crimes, or if anything, the homeless been the victims. The devil is a liar, bro. Like, he is such a liar. Cause that, I rather believe that as the truth. We don't want to talk about enough of what the homeless fall victim to. That big old flood they had in Houston several years back, they said a lot of homeless people came up missing. Some of these bad snowstorms, when the weather acts up, a natural disaster, at any given time, guess who the first victims are? Every time something happens in an area, guess who the first victims are? The homeless. It's like, really, bro? Like, how you gonna sit there and keep blaming crimes on the homeless? I don't know. I don't feel right. Just not voicing anything about it. I would say that's an easy target. Well, oh, yep, they was homeless. Yep, they did it. We found their shirt on the scene, and they probably did it because they needed some money. That is so stupid. But you're steady trying to defund places that the homeless can go to take a shower, or eat a meal, or have a bed to lay in. You want to defund those places, huh? So they are on the streets and tents and stuff more. That way now, when people are doing stuff, you would just blame it on the homeless. That's retarded. Me, I would look a little deeper than that. Like, what? How is the homeless outside doing everything? Well, don't you think we need to get a move on helping there be a decrease in homelessness crisis? That's a whole epidemic in itself. Come on, boo boo. Here. Last I checked, yeah, they just not talking about it as much with all the elections and different court cases and stupid stuff going on. Uh, why has that conversation gone more silent? There are people still doing the van life right now, still living out of storages, still living out of motel rooms. Now, people was like, oh, I don't like how they're showing that as a way of living. I've seen that in some of the comments on some of these Vanstead, Homestead type channels where people are showing how they have to live. Because they'll tell you all day long, live within your means. But now when you see people doing van life and taking showers at the gym and at trucks pit stops and doing these other things to survive like that, they have a problem with that too. They said, I saw on one channel, they said, doing those videos, they weren't talking to me. I'm talking about another channel I was watching. They had commented talking about, doing those videos in the storage is going to get you put out of their storage. I mean, they had a point. I said, do the people be thinking about that? They just be showing their video life. Hey, this is me living out of my storage. It's too late to pretend that's not happening. There have been countless and countless people are getting more vocal and visual about it. People gonna call themselves exposing you, using it as an honor or shame anyway. You might as well get on there and show how you live out of your car every day. And what gets me is the people that's doing it, they have jobs. They have jobs. You sat there and told them live within your means, didn't you? So they be showing y'all up close and personal. Look, all I eat is rice, lentils, and peas every day. I live out of my van. What more do you want from me? Like, I go to work. Why are they in those campers and van life and living outside in tents and stuff? Because they don't like when we say, oh, rent too high. Well, they be like, well, go to work. I'm telling you, bro, like, do I want to use my person? I just know, like, some people are paying nearly $2,000 just for, depending on what part of the country you stay in, just for a 2-bedroom. Some people are paying $1,800 for a 1-bedroom right now. Just straight out of high school, getting their first apartment, just so they can finish to go to their first freshman year of college. There will be some students going through this, and You know how they have campus apartments. I don't know why people thought campus apartments were free or something. You have to pay a whole deposit. It's just like an apartment. Just because you stay on university does not mean you don't have any bills. You still don't have a car note, insurance. So they tried to play us, the students that go to school from home. Well, you shouldn't have any extra money. Actually, you might have a little extra money in savings going to school from home. What you mean? Do I look like I would have to drive to a university every day? That's at least $10 a gas, ain't it? That ain't even my job yet. But shout out to the students that work that hard. Some of them, they go to work and school. There's still people out here doing it. Here. But yeah, I had seen it said they're supposedly deploying them out there to help decrease the crime in homeless communities. Like, come on, bro. Oh yeah, that's another thing. That is a whole thing. It shouldn't be so much crime. I don't know if this is new to our country or what, but there's been a lot of crime in homeless communities, bro. You put a whole bunch of people in a room together that's suffering. They all ain't ate. That none of. I mean, come on, bro. Like, what do you expect that environment to be like? I'm not excusing it, but I wouldn't be shocked if you tell me, "Yep, we found out there was crime going on in homeless communities." Like, I think people are talking about it because if it can go to this level in DC, it's definitely coming in other places. You know what I mean? Just like probably heightened security and heightened police. And yeah, like we're hearing, the National Guard. Because why not? When you're really trying to put your foot down about crime in the area, why not send in the National Guard? It has been other places though. I can't deny it's been other places though. Just this year alone, that was on the news for being crime ridden. That's why people are like, "What?" It's been places like that. Where should we start? Chicago, California, New York, like I already mentioned. I mean, a lot of cities. Come on, bro. Uh, well, when you're talking about homelessness encampments and crime at the same time, plus poverty of the low class at the same time, it's been places going through that, right? So why DC first of all to play? Like, yeah, I mean, I think they did deploy them out there in California. Remember that they did that earlier this year too over a situation. I'm sorry, I had to correct myself because I was gonna say why DC? Why would that be the first place of the country this year? But it's really not. They had to deploy the National Guard out there in California and New York. Them two places off top. I had to think about it. Uh, they've sent them out there because people got out of control as far as what's they called looting, whatever they call it, theft, all those type of crimes. That's crazy though. Look at the days we're living in. We're having to call in like higher level security just to help manage that in places. Because our own citizens, I think the only one really got the real excuse, like New York does, because they did have a lot of. At one point, they had a lot of. We all know that illegal immigrants out there, whatever was going on, they were trying to say that it wasn't until the increase of all those extra people in New York where they start seeing more crimes. But I don't know. I'm not gonna read too far into it. I do know they was already having people looting stores and stealing and doing it though during the pandemic. And I wonder too, during the pandemic, you think we didn't have people move over here just during that period alone from 2019 to 2022? I know we did. I know people had moved their families over here because it was a time where people called themselves trying to move to where the percentages might have been lesser. Like, oh, okay, Utah don't have that many COVID cases. Let me go move out there. That's what I'm saying. Pandemics can displace families for different reasons. Yeah. So, were you one of those families? Do you remember? I was just saying there were. Hold on, hold on. There were families who literally packed up and chose to move to places that didn't have as much. I got you. Here, are these yours? Here, you can have one. You don't want it? Oh, but yeah, still. Uh I don't know about that as far as my opinion. I don't know if I could settle with that at any given time. Just us doing a rush job talking about, yeah, it's the homeless. They're the reason that there's so much crime. That is so stupid. How would they even have, I don't know. I mean, or are they trying to tell us something? If that's true, who's using the homeless to commit crimes or to try to, surround them with crimes? It's stupid. If anything, the homeless have been the victims. They're more in a vulnerable position when they're out there. Very vulnerable positions. You have to turn it on and then put it on the. I thought it was on a charger that whole time. But yeah, uh, that was my question. I've noticed that with the homeless, youth, and women. Because when you say youth, like youth could be young men, young women. Just think of any category of people that are more vulnerable. And I don't have to be a Democrat to talk like this. I could be a humanitarian. Hey. I could be a humanitarian to talk like this, but I don't have to be a Democrat to talk like seriously, bro. Like we all know there's a more vulnerable people. There's always been a class of vulnerable, no matter what period of history. When we talk about America, like that is a repetitive cycle for some reason. We always got to have a group of more vulnerable, whether it's the disabled, the social security recipients. It doesn't matter. We're not going to sit here and pretend like there's no such thing as vulnerable classes of people. And low class is not. You got people that's disabled that have millions in the bank account. What do you mean? So vulnerable has many different levels to it. Thank you. I was just saying, did we forget homeless is first vulnerable? They like, no, we don't want vulnerable to exist. That's too bad. It already does. The moment and the day and the minute and the second that you become vulnerable, now you are in the vulnerable class. We're not talking middle, low class, uh, high class anymore. If you outside with no car, no home, no friends, no benefits, I'm just trying to make people look at the reality of what homeless means. If you really want to talk to me about homelessness, I'm a good person to talk to. Because even like to me, as long as you're renting, you're still homeless. That's not your home. So how are you not homeless? But I consider things shelter where they need to be considered shelter. And you always want to be grateful for shelter. Like I said on the stream last night, even prisons, mental homes, some of the worst places you could think, I guess, uh, provide shelter for the people while they're there. Shelter is just a roof and four walls, period. Do you own a home until you own a home? No. And then when you think you own a home, do you really own it? Do you own the land right there? You don't own the whole neighborhood. It's levels to this. Thank you. Here, let me help you. Yeah, it's levels to this. And we are not finna play that game and like, oh yeah, well all of this is happening because the homeless is committed. And then why is there an increasing number of people becoming homeless? They already have come up with creative ways to survive outside of paying bills every month. I don't care. You can't avoid a bill, but you can downsize. We just feel free to tune into previously recorded segments. I already kind of talked about that last night. How I feel like the direction our country is moving in economically. Anyway, people should, if we haven't been already, you should get a taste of what it's like to downsize. You look around your home right now, most of the stuff we be having, you don't need it. That's why I try to do a scan often and throw stuff in the dumpster a lot. Not because I'm wasteful, but I don't want to just ever again start building up like a lot of things it's not even useful to me or my children or the pet. Why is it in the house? Why is it sitting around? Or give it away. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Give it away. Thank you, Pooh. Thank you. I don't think that's fair to at any given point blame the whole economy on the homeless community. Some of these people just joined the homeless community a year or two ago. Some people, there's a, like they say, every minute, every second a baby is being born. It's the same thing with homelessness. Somebody don't know what they're gonna do this month, next month, the next week. We're all, what they say, a paycheck away from. Uh, I wouldn't care if I'm a Trump supporter or not. I'm still a paycheck away from homelessness. They be saying it like it can be an honor to them. I'm not being biased, but don't say it like we're supposed to feel lit. Like, well, I'm a supporter. At this time in the country, only what want and say goes. Because now, is this politics or is this something else? Period. I'm not gonna ever look down on somebody doing less than me and then just blame it on them. That is so obvious. Well, all of our problems is because y'all didn't go to work. See, now we got to start getting more technical when we talk about these topics about homelessness that they try to ignore and shut people up about. What are causing these homelessness crisis? Because you got to call it a crisis when more than 1,000 people are going through it. Oh, 1,000 was just being funny. It's more than thousands. Some are saying they don't know. That's what I'm saying. They're already downsizing. They're already couponing. They're already just finding different solutions. Roommating. Even the Airbnb people have been complaining. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them, but there's been just these stories of uh, increases in demand. Number one for Airbnbs, and it's not because people are on vacation all the time. People have really made living out of those a way of life at this time, because that's why I said, like, what are all the factors that contribute to homelessness? Some people just, their credit is that bad, and it's probably going to take them 5+ years to get it back in a place where they can even be approved for a place. Everybody's situation different. Some we do settle. Like, if I could give somebody a word of advice right now, like, it's always, if you do the proper research when it comes to what's holding you back from being able to lease at any given time, maybe your story is that you're a felon, so you can't get an apartment. My point is, there are landlords that work with felons. I don't care who don't like it. What supporter, the Dems, the House of Representative Republicans, maybe they're late or they like, well, who is it? See how their minds work? Why would you want to know all the companies that hire felons or all the companies that still try to help a felon get an apartment as long as their background is 7 years old? Yes, you have the power to get that knowledge and find out what companies and leasing agents are helping people like that, but why would that be your business? They can I would just say, yes, you would have to expect a different environment. You're not gonna find landlords like that in a white collar community. I'm trying to say it in a respectful way, but you're not gonna find you can't expect to live in that type of community if you're already settling for where you had to stay due to something like a eviction history, or like, why are people pretending that's not People been saying those regulations need to change too. Under HUD, if they could change it, it's something we should have been looked at. I mean, if something could be done, um, but then again, you can't be mad at landlords. They're just willing to put up with less. I feel their struggle too, even though I've never worked in the realty business, not yet anyway. Uh, the Airbnb host, my heart goes out to them with some of the stories I've been hearing and what they go through too. Because the landlords be like, y'all don't understand. We got families to feed too. We have a job to do. You know what I mean? We do understand what people going through, but uh, I'm just reminding the people in the history of landlords, they've never had to care about your situation. Even with me knowing that, I still say there's in betweens you can look at about what be causing or what are the preventative measures that are on the table when it comes to what we've been working on as Americans to prevent homelessness to begin with. We see we got the funding to come in and clean it up, don't we? Hey baby. Yeah, they always trying to flex their power and show that like, yeah, we're going to go clean up this homeless community. Oh yeah, they always trying to show that like, yeah, we're going downtown today and we're going to be cleaning up the whole strip. We're going to be throwing away every tent. Like, I just wonder how much money that costs them every time they go somewhere and clean up, quote unquote, clean up a homeless strip where they don't want a bunch of tents and RVs or whatever they be saying. Like, okay, we get it. You have the power to do that. So that would mean you have the power to be sitting here trying to implement preventative ways. That's not even housing. That's not even rental assistance, right? That has nothing to do with money at all. What are those preventative measures that we're offering Americans right now? What is the hotline number they're supposed to call? Because, like, to me, good leadership is preventing that word, thinking about what it really means for 1 second. And preventative plans and preventative programs and preventative assistance. How you gonna sit there and complain about how many sitting out there homeless when there's some sitting in hotels and sheds in cars uh, because they couldn't afford rent and they had a job? I don't know. Like, maybe I should share a few of my past experiences, but like, one time, it's bad when your own caseworker at any point be like, I feel like you should quit that job. And back then I was making like $7.85 at a little donut shop. Seriously. But I had a whole 2 bedroom apartment, 2 bed, 2 bath. Uh I was working with a preventative program. Like, they don't exactly pay your rent, but they help you to budget, boom, boom, boom. Like, I'm glad I had a lot of those experiences actually when I was in my younger 20s. Somebody to come by, check on you too, monthly. Let me help you get your budget sheet together. What goals you got? If only they were talking to me like that now, though. Like, some of the things and goals and visions I have, I just didn't have back then. I don't know how to explain it to people, but they really were there to help, not just single mothers, but single parents. Different programs are for different things. Um, but we were sitting down looking at the budget sheet one month, and she was like, Teddy Sherry, how did you, this check stub say 42 hours? Like, it didn't make sense, the hours to the money, not because it wasn't calculated right. She just, like, she didn't even want to see me do that no more. Like, I said, I thought they said a job was a job, because I've had many moments in my own personal life where a job was just a job. I didn't care, you know what I mean? And my caseworker saw it. I wouldn't care if it's your caseworker, probation officer. They've seen me in light like that, you know what I mean? And it was like, man, you actually doing this. You working for 750, because depending on what you're going through, just like I said with housing, depending on what's on your record, or like I said, what you're going through, y'all do know some of the homeless people that's out there, because homeless is also sleeping on somebody else's couch. I don't care. roommate, and they're like, I'm not homeless, I got a roommate. Until you own that home, you're homeless. But who am I to say that, right? It's just my opinion. You don't own that home, how is that your home? So you're technically homeless. Now you have a place of shelter, a place of residency, okay? But you don't own that home, so how are you not homeless? Anyways, like most times they consider homeless sleeping on a park bench. Like I heard in some states, if you got a hotel or motel room, that's not even considered homeless anymore. Literally, like go do an application at a housing place, and if you check that box when they say what is your living situation right now, and it's gonna have a bunch of different boxes, like oh I stay with a friend, I sleep on a park bench. Like that's literally an option of a box you can check. What's another one? I sleep in my car, or I'm living with a family member. You know, because if you put, oh, I have a home, why would they select your application? Why would they make your application a priority? If you check, I have a home on a housing application, why would they even prioritize your application? So I don't believe everybody just out there applying for stuff just to find the cheaper way out. But you got a lot of people with that mentality. The mentality I'm talking about is trying to put us all in that category. That ain't even factually right when HUD, which is just about in every state, has always have stipulations and requirements for housing. So, and I'm saying that's what without the housing programs, rental assistance, any of that, they're gonna have rules. Every landlord does. Every every HUD program does. I don't know. That's just how that works. So, anyways, I was just letting people know that it's a fun fact. You go Google it in your own time. In certain states, only certain living crisis situations are even deemed as homeless. Okay? In certain states, they say, nope, if you got somebody couch to sleep on, we do not consider you homeless. When you fill out this food stamp application, you need to put the address of the person you stay with. They might have you to get them to say sign a waiver or something saying that they stay with you, but they just don't. They don't consider or you know what I'm saying, class that as homeless when you actually have somewhere to sleep. I'm actually glad that God has given us a little more time to see more things that we can't deny anymore. Not just us as the people, but Congress and everybody too. Because for a long time, they wanted to be the ones to deem and class what's homeless and not. Okay, so y'all have that power. It's not a power we're trying to take from you. All we can do is obey the rules, right? But y'all said this is a form of homelessness. This is not. Like you literally have classifications where you say no. If you're at a homeless shelter, literally just ask CPS. People call themselves like, because let's not pretend that's not going on. People call themselves, coming for people like that. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna call CPS and tell them you at a shelter. Like, that's not how life works. CPS will tell you themselves if them kids is at the shelter with their parent, they are not homeless according to our guidelines and playbook. How are they homeless? How are they on the street and they have a whole room with a lock and key to sleep in every night? How are they homeless? That's what they gonna tell you. That's not saying that that family might not be in a crisis. That says that in itself. That person's address at that time is the shelter. What else is there for you to say about their life? I was just saying the state does not require. I mean, that's a homeless shelter, but the state does not consider that homeless. If you actually have which most shelters do, they have it where you can use their address for mail. What do you mean? And like I said, some of these HUD programs do not consider you having a room uh, or a couch to sleep on homeless. You just consider yourself homeless when you're going through something like that, or people around you call you homeless. Let's be honest. I'm just making sure Congress understands this is what it's like really for a real homeless person. Regardless of what you say you deem homeless or not, this person does not qualify for this or that because No, you're not homeless. You live with your sister. They never ask you deeper questions like, well, are you okay over there? You said you sleeping on your cousin's couch. Oh, okay. That's all you needed to hear, though, right? Oh, okay. I'm not homeless. Oh, you said you were at the shelter. We thought you was okay. That's crazy. You don't know that about any person in a homeless situation unless you ask them what they're going through. What do you mean? For too long, you just thought you knew why they ended up that way. You only thought it's a list of 10 things of a reason that, and number one that be on a list is that that person didn't go to work. I'm trying to tell you, more of the homeless community today have jobs. Yep, that's right. Most of these social places that we attend, restaurants, just places we think are everyday places, you'll notice when you go there, there's workers there. But you never do a survey and ask those workers on the side, what is your living situation right now? Even if it's just an IHOP server. How much did y'all think IHOP servers make? I do kind of miss the days where I worked jobs where I made tips though. Because, with those kind of jobs, it's like you get to keep, there's no cap usually. There's no cap on the tips. You get to make as much money. And they used to hate me, boy, when I have tip jobs because maybe they're great for some people, especially like me who was really social. I'm not gonna say I'm not as social anymore. I probably I'm probably just not as social, but people that know me, they know. And the social, when I would bring that to work, because that's a place I'm actually getting paid to be social. You feel me? It's one thing for people just to expect you to be social because they want to be in your grill and business and social life every day. But it's another thing when you're actually being paid to be social. But there, just to let people know there are jobs like that. I have experience with them, so I know they exist. Actually, the more social you are, it's like they're not tipping you to be social. They just remember how much you know what I'm saying, how social you were, how vocal you were, how much you attended to their plates and drinks. So I just used to make a lot of tip money. It had nothing to do with showing my body, being pretty, nothing. It was just my social skills. So I was just saying those jobs where you earn tips, though, I do think those are great employment choices for people like that, like social butterflies like myself, or just like you enjoy serving people, you enjoy helping people. Like you definitely belong at customer service jobs, especially those that tip you. You find yourself making a lot of money. I done had a lot of miracle days at jobs where you're giving tips too. I just kept that on the low years ago. Not at no strip club. Just because I'm a young black woman. I've worked whole social skills jobs where it was your social skills. The boss ain't gonna come tell you, no, you can't take that $500 tip from that table. They can't tell you that. $500, guess what? You just made $500 plus your $5 an hour once you get paid that Friday. But I was saying, do we ever stop and ask the servers, like, what is your living situation right now? That's why some people do bless servers. They might not ask their personal things, but you see they're a server. Try to bless their game sometimes. Even I try to do that when I mean I might do more delivery orders these days, but still I try to be a blessing to the delivery drivers. They might look at it as like, oh man, it's just $2.50. Like, brother, to you it's just $2.50. That might have been my last two bucks to my name, but I wanted to make sure you got some type of tip because you just helped me eat. Like that. Some people believe in tips, some don't. Y'all know how they go. I actually never thought I would see the day. Like, I saw how social media started. It had nothing to do with money. Trust me. When we was first on MySpace and stuff like that, platforms like that, when social media first came out, it had nothing to do with money. Just to bring people back to reality for a second. Like, nobody was on MySpace talking about, oh, give me $5 or donate. It just was unheard of. I'm actually seeing history unfold with everybody else. Like, I mean, the future in the making, whatever you want to call it. Like, I just never seen. I never thought I would see the day like social media actually was a money grab opportunity for anybody. Right? Why would I ever hate on any one person? It wouldn't be something that a person could make me hate on. I can say that right now. Or them showing any type of lifestyle they're living on social media, right? Because I might not know that person, but that might be how that person is earning the income too. Like, why would that be my business? I remember the days social media had nothing to do with money at all. Once again, MySpace was just you got your top 10 friends, you're gonna make your profile page. Your profile page come with you put a theme song on it. I remember all of that. I remember because when MySpace came out, it wasn't even no Cash App yet. There were mobile banking, all that stuff wasn't even out yet. You could message. That was our first introduction to what they call instant messenger. You could message your buddies and friends and social group on MySpace. That's all it is, though. People trying to mix up internet opinions with real life. Life does not work like that. I was just saying, you want to talk to somebody not just experienced in homelessness, but actually experienced in hearing other people's stories, both in the early 90s, because that's I haven't been here that long, but back then and now. Back then and now. And like back then you just saw more. I think the homeless communities are probably still like that, but they definitely took care of each other. I don't care what you say. I don't know where y'all from, but when you used to ride through the homeless community where I'm from, you didn't see them do. I mean, you saw the crime and crazy stuff too. That's gonna be on any homeless corner you go to, man. That those people are already struggling. Like they make you feel better to look down on them. That's you. But you got to understand the dynamics of it. So where I left off at is I just used to see them take care of each other. Like this is what I mean. I'm finna give y'all an example. Back then, I saw situations like you saw a buddy of 10 homeless people, but after 2 months, 3 of them get housing. So now it's only 7 buddies left at the homeless community. This is back then how I used to see the homeless take care of one another. I'm not gonna say you would see those 3 that got their housing just turn around, and I don't know why people expect to see that. It's really stupid to assume that because you met somebody while you was in the homeless community, you should give them a place to stay. Like why? But and they might argue and say because you saw my situation, we was out there together. Like no, that's not how that worked. Now I can give you the fishing rod. I can give you the same one if you want to. You might feel like I got a lucky fishing rod. I can give you the same fishing rod I fished with and tell you exactly where to aim it so you can catch just as nice fish as I just did. That's still not promise that you're going to do that, but wouldn't you want to say you tried? Like, you can even say, I used the same exact fishing rod she used. But yeah, like people be feeling like, because I saw, it's just another rapper that's trending right now. They be talking about people business, but I don't know where that came from. Like, because you get housing or because you get a place to stay, you're supposed to try to turn around. How is that even humanly possible? If you have kids, that's who you're supposed to be worried about have a roof over their head. The devil not finna confuse me with all these political opinions. If you have kids, that's who you supposed to be. That's your only priority of who you supposed to be making sure have a roof over their head at any given time. That's not going over for a sleepover or nothing. I mean an actual roof, whether that's a hotel, your own apartment or home, or you staying with somebody. Because me, I don't know, but most times when you stay with somebody, you are also, you know what I'm saying, helping to contribute to some type of bills and rent too. So, but yeah, like people swear, okay, well, she got a place, I got a place. She got a car, I got a car. Like some people really know that. They know that side of people and they have had to stand up against it. Like, no, once the day I had a child or had kids, that changed, first of all, because that would mean my now I have a whole priority over other priorities in my life, even if that was new to me at the time. You know what I mean? Like literally having to learn. Uh, I know you used to helping everybody. I know you used to tell your homegirl, yeah, you come stay here. Yeah, I'll give you a ride. Yeah, I'll lend you $20. Like most parents help parents, just like I said, in the homeless community. I've seen it with my own eyes. Like you have people that turn around and still want to go back and help in the same place they just came from. But then again, look how like people have made that dangerous for us to do. But it's like God had to show it first. Because if I would have just came out and said that, people swear I said something wrong. No, that's the truth. Like you will find yourself putting yourself whole in danger just trying to help somebody else today. And then now when you got to sit there and try to explain it, that's embarrassing to say. Like, oh, okay, I had to stop doing a whole service because my life was put in danger just trying to be nice, just trying to be charitable, just trying to be right, like extend a helping hand. If we live in a day where you can have a finger chopped off just for extending a hand, why even extend your hand? Now you missing a whole finger just because you thought somebody needed a hand. And I just personally don't have time for that anymore. I'm even teaching my kids about that. Like, hey, if you got friends out there that's making you feel like if you don't do something when they say or something, they're not going to be your friend no more. You can be grateful in that moment. Don't show them because they might wonder why you don't have a problem with them not wanting to be your friend no more. But just know when you walk away from that person, that's the best thing they could have did. Is show you that about them, that they'll never look at you as they equal unless you are literally doing what they think you should do or what they told you should do. That is not a friend. I tell that to a grown up or my kids or any other kid, because we know I have experience like working with kids, and I try to give them the best advice too. Because once again, you never know who an adult go back and think about told them something at one time in their life. Because I'm one of those adults that do that. Like, if I could really just write down all the people and the different things, the different golden nuggets and gems I picked up along the way. Like some people, they probably tell me knowledge right now to apply to my life. The beautiful thing is eventually they see that I applied or that I didn't. And some people, you just want to make them proud. Like, man, not only did you apply the peanut butter spread I taught you years ago, you made a whole new recipe. Like, make them proud. Don't just be sitting there telling people stuff just to tell them. Then you're not even proud when you see them apply to their life. Make that make sense. I was telling my daughter that today. Sweetie, do remember, I also compliment when you're doing the right thing. I do it in front of a crowd of people. I'm not finna be that mother. All you hear me doing is bickering. I'm not finna be that for nobody because I know that's not truly my character either. But even with exes, I don't care. Like any experiences I've had, like I'm one of those people that talk about the negatives because there's never a positive without a negative and vice versa. But I also like to give credit where it's due. It's something I'm gonna keep preaching and walking by an example by myself first. A person is a liar if they said all they heard me do is bicker. I give so much credit where it's due. Let's start with my kids though. Like I was just explaining it to her today. One of my juniors, like, do know, like me, I used to be the kind of kid. Once I caught on that I like compliments, I like attention, I like being awarded. I found myself doing more things to receive those things. Ain't nothing that in life. I want people to know that here at You Will Make It TV. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be celebrated and wanting to be, but why? Okay, so now you need to go down the road, a path of things that you're doing where you're constantly getting compliments, you're constantly getting respect, you're constantly getting awarded. You are always putting that work in. What are you talking about? This is why people love Cam Newton or Deion Sanders or Michael Jordan. They were known to do that. If they never touch a ball again in their life, people are going to forever talk about these guys. They're going to forever receive these accolades for the work that they put in. You know, we live in a new time where people want that to only be applied to certain people. So I was telling my kids, like, just as much as you They like, mommy, you is like that. It's just been a while. Cause if you have been showing me more of a cycle or pattern of behavior that I'm actually against, you're gonna hear me preach about it until cause me loving you, they say that's when you worry when a person just get quiet. I wouldn't care if it's in a intimate relationship, a relationship with anybody, a homegirl, homeboy, ex, best friend, teacher, professor, life coach. That's when the last I checked, that's when you worry about somebody. When they get quiet, when they are still talking and voicing and voicing and voicing and really preaching and preaching and preaching. I'm not saying I know it all, but I'm thinking about this right now. Like I would say that person still cares. That's why they still voicing it. That's why they're still fussing about it. They actually want better for you. Only those that have ever truly love somebody in that way know what I'm talking about. Because why would you just sit there and want to watch it? Literally, watch a person from A to Z sit there and crash themselves out. It does show a lot about a person who sits back and watches it comfortably with a box of popcorn. But you say you love that person. But some of us, we graduated to that level where, yep, I'm going to just be quiet for a while. But yeah, it is something to be concerned about or worry about too. Because, like, they have always said that's a whole sign that a person has already checked out. That doesn't change for you or me. They have said this for generations. Like, that's a whole sign that somebody has emotionally checked out. They don't even want to talk no more. And you can't force them to. You might can check on them or try to say hi to them sometimes or something like that. But really, once a person is, I'm not saying it's impossible to get them back once they've emotionally checked out, but you would have to put in the work. Now you got to convince them of why they should re emotionally invest in you. Period. So they be like, why the homeless just don't all they go get a 5 bedroom? I bet they'll get mad if they see the homeless start doing it. Cause they can do that. All five in the homeless tent decide to go they all five get jobs. They all five put $50 in the pool every week. Let's say they do this for 6 months. Now they got $20,000 to go invest in a property. Five homeless people that don't know each other from a can of paint. You just expect them to be, well, yeah. All you care about is homeless people not being on the street. But okay, let's entertain that thought for a second. So five strangers go together, they put some money together because they met each other on the street, and then they try to go get a place. Just imagine how they would turn out because you didn't even know them people. Y'all just tried to do the right thing for the country and get off the homeless, out of the homeless communities, get the tents off the streets. I wouldn't say that plan would work like that well for everybody because now you got five different people who didn't know each other from a can of paint that well, trying to literally live a daily life. You would think it's simple. Just keep doing what you were doing when you were homeless. Go to work. They thought it was that simple. It should be, all of y'all can work different shifts and still get the job done, pay the rent. But somebody pointed out it would be the lifestyles of all five people. That's what usually creates problems. That's why people can't be roommates now. Somebody always got to take the leadership. I guess you need some type of organization. What do you call it? Some type of like order. I wouldn't care what the roommate situation is. It got to be some type of order and rules in the house, or y'all not gonna have that place long. Um, and usually that doesn't work out with people for some reason. Somebody might feel like you sleep too much. Like, damn, aren't we just roommates? I didn't move in here for you to tell me how I should live my life. That's what's crazy. Like most let me use apartment complexes for example. Most apartment complexes, everybody in the apartment complex does not know everybody. And if you name an apartment complex where everybody do, I would say there's something more going on with that. Like I've never heard of that in my life, unless it's like some small complex. But I would guarantee you, all 30 doors, all 50 doors, all 100 doors, everybody in that apartment complex lives a separate, total different lifestyle. Everybody don't go to work at 8 in the morning and get off at 5 like the 80s and 90s. But I hear them. They're saying make America great again.